welcome to the introduction of our test podcast. We're going to start out and go through a little bit about one another here and move on into our topic of discussion today, which is going to be what is Quest Outdoors. So we're going to start out with Don here, have him do a little bit of background and experience about himself. Don?
Okay, Jay. So I took interest in hunting from an early age. My family were all hunters and fishermen. So consequently, I took an interest in it, and it is kind of my passion. Archery hunting is my first love, and then I do some gun hunting. And, of course, I fish all summer long, tournament fish on Great Lakes, on Lake Michigan. And we also do some walleye fishing on the other side of the state in the Detroit River and Lake Erie. So, I've hunted in quite a few different states, elk hunting and deer hunting. I've been Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, New Mexico, quite a few of the western states, Illinois, Ohio, Wisconsin, Indiana, and, of course, my home state of Michigan. As you can see in my background, I have done some deer hunting. Deer hunting is, with my bow, is my passion. We spend from April to middle of September tournament fishing on Lake Michigan, which is salmon fishing. And then when the tournament fishing ends in September, I start doing some deer hunting. And so I do a lot of camera work, trail camera work, and setting tree stands. I don't have any private property anymore, so I hunt public land. I basically have gotten most of my deer off of public land. Well, that's kind of my background. It's kind of where I come from.
You remember the first deer that you shot?
Yeah. The first buck I shot is over there on the wall, that little 4-point over there on the wall. That's the first deer I ever got.
Wow, that's nostalgic.
And then, I would hope that everybody has some sort of a mentor that got them into hunting and fishing, whatever, camping, outdoor. So my mentor was my brother Richard, who is gone now, but he introduced me to most of everything I do nowadays. He was my mentor, and he was good at it too. So I kind of I was lucky. I had someone to teach me and show me how to hunt and fish. And then I took it from there on my own.
I would classify you more or less as a very experienced and very accomplished hunter, very experienced and very accomplished hunter and fisher both. Your outdoor skills are noted without question. You've got articles that have been written about you. You've got world-class champion mounts here all around us. So I think that, from my perspective and my limited knowledge, if you will, from an amateur perspective, I would classify you as world-class without a doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. My whole goal is hunting is to, of course, to get a big deer, you got to go where they're at. You got to find them. That's what I enjoy. I enjoy finding them. I enjoy figuring out how to set up to hunt the deer and to harvest the deer. I'm not going to say I'm not interested in deer in general. I love deer hunting. I love to watch the deer, but I'm more interested in the older deer. And I've got a few deer that are. The deer in the center over here is the number 4 muzzleloader deer in the state of Michigan, and I have a few other ones that I'm proud of. But you don't get a big. It's a challenge to get a big deer every year, right? So I hunt public land, and public land is now getting, in my opinion, overcrowded. So we're trying to move around now and find other spots to hunt. We're going to other states. We spent the last 2 years hunting in Indiana on top of Michigan, and we did some hunting in Ohio and Wisconsin both. And we used outfitters so we could get on some land that wasn't being overcrowded or overrun by other hunters. So that's why we went to start using some outfitters, which will be another topic we're going to talk about in the future.
All right. My background is primarily focused in technology and tactical and security. So for years, many years, I've been engaged in technology professionally, primarily focused around the banking and finance industry, the technology associated with all aspects of that, system development, system deployment, user experience, large data center construction, those types of things. And on the security and tactical side, I train private clients for both personal security and tactical evolutions of security. I own 2 companies and we work nationwide. We provide tactical training for security teams, primarily in religious institutions and educational environments. So we have clients from LA to Florida to New York, Michigan, and everywhere in between. I've got quite a bit of background in that, former law enforcement experience myself. I worked in law enforcement for a little while, short period of time, and spent a lot of time developing my skill. My hunting background is limited as an amateur, if you will. As Donnie said earlier, the mentorship is critical, and he was that for me without question. So when I was young and just getting involved in hunting and fishing, he was the primary individual who took me out, dealt with the cold feet, dealt with the hungry stomach and all the rest of the stuff that goes along with a junior hunter, and trying to get the patience to sit long enough in the tree stand to actually see something, and was with me when I harvested my first buck and was with me when I harvested my biggest buck. So that's kind of the background for me in a nutshell. As we continue to develop the podcast here, the technology aspect and the AV aspect of things will be my focus, along with working with Don on the interviews. His expertise, his connections and relationships are what we'll capitalize on to develop and grow the podcasts and bring content to the audience. So on that, we'll move on to today's topic, which is what is Quest Outdoors? And pass it back over to Don.
Yeah, sure. Our goal, I think we picked our Quest Outdoors, our named as in, we'd like to help the public in their endeavors to complete their quest. In other words, they might have a bucket list or a goal, you could say, which would be considered a quest, right? So we'd like to see if we can help the public with some straightforward, honest information that we're going to gather. We'll be interviewing different people and getting some true stories, right? Some actual true information, not hearsay or anything like that. We're going to get some stories and we're going to get some information. We'll be talking about hunting, fishing, camping, whatever subject anybody that follows us wants to talk about. And we'll try to line up some guests to speak to and to talk to and get their input on what they think about hunting nowadays. Is it overcrowded? Are we hunting private land all the time? Are we hunting public land? What does the deer population look like? And anything to do with hunting and fishing? That's going to be our goal. We want to be as honest and straightforward as we can be.
So as we go through, I think seasonal is what we're going to be looking at from a content perspective, and we'll talk about a couple other things too. There's one aspect of the outdoors atmosphere, if you will, that I think I'm very interested in, and that's the opportunity to interface with potential big game predators and some of the risk associated with that, and tactically how the hunter can prepare themselves successfully to deal with such an encounter. If you're camping, you're out, you're late, it's night, what are you doing with your food? How are you storing your food? What are you doing for personal protection out there? Are you carrying some sort of spray? Do you have a sidearm with you? Bears are a big thing. I don't want to just limit us to North America, if you will, but there's threats that come into play from that aspect internationally. If you're in Africa and you're hunting, what are you doing? How's your guide protecting you? How are you protecting yourself? Those types of things. On the hunting aspect, there's a wide variety of stuff that that I think we'll cover there, from the preseason scouting, going through selecting the plot that you're going to hunt. We'll provide some drone aerial of some of the areas that we're going to focus on, trying to give a little bit of expertise, a little bit of what it takes from a world-class hunter, what the optics look like for that individual in Don's eyes as he goes out and tries to select a place for his tree stand and actually harvest a world-class buck, as he's done so many times, as you can see from the walls behind us. So I think we'll go through some of that. Baiting, if that's an option, what does that look like, from high fence hunts to guide services and everything in between. So we'll capture all of that stuff as well as fishing. Your extensive background in fishing really adds a lot of content availability.
Yeah. Yep. We're going to try to cover. We'll try to cover topics that people want to get some answers to. I think that's going to be a on top of what we already know we want to talk about. But when people bring in suggestions, we're going to evaluate them, and we're going to try to see if we can make a program on it, see who we can get to speak besides us about it. I mean, I think camping, fishing, hunting, the whole outdoors aspect is going to be seasonal, just like you said. We'll work on it or whatever comes up. I mean, there's even a lot of talk now today about accidents that happen in the woods.
Yeah.
We can talk. We'll try to cover some of that. What you might want to be carrying with you when you're camping and fishing and hunting. Things to help if there's an accident. Things to prevent accidents.
Things like a stop the bleed kit. We actually had a family member who injured himself getting down out of a tree stand. You remember that?
Yep.
So the potential risk that's associated with it and how you protect yourself and keep yourself alive, not just from injury, but let's say you get lost.
That's a really big subject right now. There was a couple articles the other day on the news about a guy. A guy wrote to him and his buddy were hunting, and his buddy cut his leg pretty bad, and he couldn't stop the bleeding, and so he lost his life due to what they didn't have available, such as a tourniquet. So we're going to talk about all of those things. We're going to talk about whatever hot topic is up, whatever somebody else wants to talk about, and what we want to talk about. And we're going to try to get the information that will help somebody when they're preparing to go hunting and fishing or camping. We're going to try to line up, and we're going to have some interviews with people that may not be famously known, maybe because they don't want to be famously known. And we're going to try to get them lined up to interview them. We already have some people in mind, but sometimes they don't want to be.
Don't want the notoriety.
They don't want the notoriety. So we're going to try to speak to some of those people, which you don't see. We have a couple friends that are very, very extensive deer hunters. They manage their own properties. They hunt out of state. They've used outfitters, and they're very successful. So we're going to try to speak to those people.
Yeah, and we'll capitalize on our connections. I think that's going to be critical too. We both have a number of connections throughout our spaces that we operate. I've got some executives that really are infatuated with world-class hunting, and they get out internationally and do some hunting, and like to talk to them about their good experiences and bad experiences. And we also have some really high caliber fishermen that we're associated with too, fishing the Great Lakes, which is fantastic. So some of the trophy fish that are attainable in the Great Lakes, it's phenomenal. The fishing's world class here without without a doubt, in freshwater fishing, from salmon to lake trout and walleye and everything in between. So we'll capitalize on that. And again, quality of content is what our goal is, and to provide information for the person who's going to go out, whether you have the disposable income to spend on booking high dollar events, or whether you're just a casual outdoorsman who works hard for their money and they want to get the best bang for the buck, and everything in between.
Yep. We're going to do, we'll have some, I hope, we'll have some video content of some of the fishing this spring and summer. We'll try to get the cameras on the boats, on our boats, and maybe on some, well, not maybe, we'll probably get on some other boats. As anybody that knows me, during the summer, we fish the tournament trail, which is exactly what it's called. It's called the tournament trail, up and down the the east coast of Lake Michigan. We'll be doing some tournament fishing. The tournaments start early April, and they go all the way through into September. So we'll absolutely get out on our boat and do some videoing, and so people can see what we're doing during the tournaments, what we're doing pre-fishing, the equipment we use on the boats, which a lot of people may not or may be familiar with. We'll probably get some walleye fishing in. We'll get that included. There'll be some good video of that stuff because we have a lot of access to all of that and to most of the people that do it. So that we'll be looking forward to that. As Jay said, we have some properties we're going to look at down in Ohio for some private deer hunting. We'll probably go down there and scout that out and check it out and see what it looks like. We'll be doing some shed hunting. There possibly will be some turkey hunting. So we're going to kind of cover everything that we can cover with the time that we have.
Yeah, for sure. So we shouldn't be short on content with all that we do. We're going to open up for just a little bit of open discussion here. From back to your first buck that you have the mount on the wall there. What is, just as we go through some open discussion, tell me, what are a couple of the most memorable trips that you've had that really stand out for you when it comes to whitetail hunting?
Whitetail hunting? Well, of course, the deer we call Todd, right? There's a state game area south of our location here that is a bird wildlife refuge, right? So they goose and duck hunt there. Consequently, through the years, the deer have gathered in there too, and you can't hunt in there, but you can hunt the boundaries, right? So this deer, I followed this deer around, hoping someday he might come off of the refuge, right? And so,
how long did you follow him around? How long did you? When did you first see him?
I'd say he was probably 3 years old when I first saw him. So, when I harvested him, he was 6. So I probably binoculars. I followed him around with binoculars. He was in the safe area all the time. I wasn't the only one that seen him too, either. Other people knew he was there. So he was kind of a local legend, right? So I had a friend of mine young guy who wanted to learn how to bow hunt. And he asked me if I would show him how to bow hunt. And he actually worked for me. And so I took him out. He got a bow. He got all the equipment. He started shooting. He started to learn how to shoot. He started to learn how to hunt. And so I took him hunting and set him up in an area. And he was hunting. And then opening day of muzzleloader opened up. I called him to see if he wanted to go, and it was raining. And he said he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go in the rain. So Don goes and by himself and goes to his stand where I was going to put him. And just so happened that Todd was on his way back to the refuge that morning.
Wow.
With a handful of does and another buck. And he came by me and I harvested him 150 yards with a muzzleloader.
Ooh, that's a good shot.
And, you got about 200 yards, 2 to 400 yards to harvest a deer like that from a refuge before he gets back into the safe area. And so you've got to position yourself. So lifetime goal, and harvested that deer. So that was probably one of my, of course, he's one of my biggest deer too, right? And then I'd say that was probably one of my most memorable deer hunting for as far as getting a trophy deer.
Walk us through what that was like when you saw him coming into your shooting lane.
Yeah, well, you know what? I didn't know he was Todd. We didn't call him Todd at the farm. So the farm is called the Todd Farm here. The local people call that farm the Todd Farm. In 1907 or somewhere around there, the Todd family, that's their last name, donated that property to the state of Michigan. And under the circumstances that they would keep it a wildlife refuge to protect the animals. And so the state runs it, and it's my parents' property used to butt up to that. So I kind of grew up around there, right? So
Yep,
the
West
Todd
Michigan,
Farm's
West
divided
Michigan.
into zones. There's 10 zones. So my parents' property butted up to one of the zones. So I've learned the properties around there pretty well. Plus, we watched the deers for years. You can drive through the center of the state farm, and what people do, and look at all the deer over there. Some very big trophy deer over there, which happens to be, deer like Todd. So
Massive.
when I saw him, I didn't know it was him. At 150 yards of the naked eye, I knew it was a big deer.
You
I knew
hunting
that
with
it
a
was,
scope or iron sights?
Scope.
Okay.
I knew it was a big deer, but I didn't really know it was him because I saw the side view of his antlers out the side. So when I got over there to where he was laying, then I just, I knew it was him. And I knew that he was traveling in and out of there at night because, we had trail cameras in there. We knew he was traveling through there, but all at night. Just happened to catch him that morning.
What time of the day was it?
So I'm pretty sure it was like 9 o'clock in the morning when I shot him.
Okay.
And it was like, there was another deer, another 8 point, I think it was 8 points in front of him. That was a shooter too. It was a trophy deer, but he was already on the run. He was already moving. So, you're hunting, this is state land. So you're hunting, there's other people around.
Yeah.
There was other hunters around that morning. Just got lucky, which is part of hunting, right? Luck. But what is the saying, right? The definition of luck is the opportunity and skill meet.
Yeah.
So got lucky and harvested a trophy deer.
Right place at the right
Right
time.
place at the right time, and knowing what. It's not all luck, right? You got to know a little bit about hunting.
Was it raining when you shot him?
It was not raining, but it had rained that morning.
Quiet morning then.
Yeah.
And 150 yards out, it had visuals on him. You wouldn't have heard him out there moving at all.
No, it's kind of shocking to get a deer like that lives on the refuge because they're pretty smart. They know the boundary line.
They don't come off very
They
often.
don't come off very often. If they do, that's because they're after the does, or they're trying to get away from the other bucks. The buck deer ratio on that farm is pretty tight. It might be 3 to 1, but so the object of hunting over there is to keep an eye on a certain day. So around here, right, in our area, November 7th to like the 15th, right? That time is the biggest time for chasing, for rut chasing around here. If you're going to hunt, those are the days you want to hunt. You want to try to hunt the 7th through the 15th and be out there every day. Sit there all day.
So when you squeezed off on him, left of bang, as we call it in the tactical world, you send it, the rounds headed down range, and you saw that you had a hit on him. How did he respond once you hit him? Did he take off right away, or
No,
did you put him down right there?
He dropped instantly.
It's a good shot.
It was a good shot. Yeah. I caught the back edge of his right shoulder blade, and it shattered the muzzle loader bullet. It went everywhere in his body. So
Okay.
He dropped.
Instantaneous kill. By the time you got over there,
He was still alive when I got over there, but no, it was pretty much over.
And you talked about population of hunters out there too. So one of the things that comes to mind is an experience that we had previously. You know, you kind of got to be careful. You shoot a big deer like that and it runs off, and somebody else tries to claim the deer or something like that. You run into other hunters.
Believe me, after I shot that deer, there was two guys. There was a guy already walking up on him before I could get over there. He was on the other side of the hill. He heard the shot. And in fact, his shot scared him and the deer he was with. He was in the brush that you can't really see into. When this guy shot on the other side of the hill, he scared him out right in front of me.
Oh, no kidding.
I mean, I knew there was deer there, but I didn't know
Was he shooting at this deer
He was shooting at a doe.
Oh, okay.
And so he was like, he pretty much was walking up there at the same time I was. And before I was able to get the deer out of there, I had 5 guys there around me from various different. And when they saw the deer, they were like astounded.
Nothing like, you could put your tag on it and then go get somebody to help you and leave the thing out there in the field. You'd probably come back and not find it.
Yeah. State land is nowadays it's getting more and more overcrowded. I've had to move. I don't even hunt that spot anymore. It got so after that, after this deer, it just got the word spreads fast.
Yeah.
So you don't. So it's hunted pretty hard, that spot. So bad now that it's nowhere near the hunting spot it was the days that I hunted it. So yeah, I mean, everybody asks me, sees the deer and knows that I harvest deer, the deer I harvest. Well, how do you get a big deer? Well, the first thing you got to do is you got to go where they're at, right?
Yeah.
You got to hunt. You got to find them. You got to hunt where they are. Yes, there's deer around here and there. There could be deer on your 40 acres, but is there a big one there? You got to figure that out. And that comes from scouting, right? And nowadays, trail cameras. Which leads to another topic someday we can talk about. There's a lot of difficulties hunting state land.
Well, the technology fascinates me when it comes to surveillance. I mean, and it kind of plays over a little bit into my world of tactical expertise and security. So you're using technology to gather intelligence about the movement of prey, big game, in this circumstance with Todd. And we use it in the tactical environment to gather intelligence on an objective, target, if you will, not much unlike what you do. So we'll definitely have some follow-up episodes on technology and really get into that.
We will.
We'll peel the onion on that one nice and hard and take a look at it. So how did you get Todd out of the field? Did you get him out by yourself, or did you need some help
I
with
was only about 100 yards from a road.
Oh, okay. So you were able to get him over to the
gravel road.
Yeah.
But, so it just so happens, and I was by myself, right?
Yeah.
So it just so happens that there was somebody else hunting in the area that I know. He's a local taxidermist.
Okay.
In our area here, and he came by, and he knew what was going on. It's kind of like I said, all of those spots around the Todd farm now that you can hunt legally are over hunted.
Yeah.
But at the time, so he came by, he might have heard the shot, or he saw the orange, he saw the people, he got out, came over there, and I said, hey, will you stand here and keep an eye on the deer while I go get the truck? So I went and got the truck, came back around, and he helped me load him.
Oh, that's good.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
it would have been a little sticky,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, I can imagine that, especially over there.
The whitetail hunting world is it's a pretty large topic.
Well, ethics, I think, too, be another topic that we'll discuss as we go through our endeavors here. The ethics of hunting and the ethics of when another individual shoots a deer, and some of the experiences that we've had with people trying to take that deer from you and claim it for themselves. I think that that's a good topic too that we can go through when you're hunting public lands. That's kind of the thing you run into, right? So there's a guy behind every tree. You shoot, somebody else shoots at the same time you do, or in the general vicinity of the time that you shoot. And the next thing you know, you could find yourself in a life-threatening situation because people for stealing game, I mean, they really, the ethics out there is just incredible. So,
but listen to this conversation. This is stuff people don't talk about.
yeah, I know it.
That's what Quest is gonna do. We're
that's
gonna
right.
talk about things. We may not be naming names or anything like that, but we're gonna talk about those subjects and topics, and we're gonna get other people's opinion. We're gonna get other stories from other people. We're gonna see if we can help people resolve something. We can't help everything. You're not gonna solve everything that's going on out in the woods, out in the wildlife. There's all kinds of people out there. You're not the only person out there, but we're going to talk about those things. These are sore subjects, right? These are
It's really real. They're real. They're real things.
subjects. They're things that people don't want to talk about. There's the ethics in the woods. You know how that gets handled? That gets handled out in the woods.
Yeah. Wood shampoo is what we used to call it down in Ohio. You bring your 2x4 and put on the wood shampoo.
Yep. I mean, it's like it's talked about on social media, but it really does happen. Lots of those things. I mean, you see a lot of strange things in the woods.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And for those unethical hunters that we know and that we see, stay tuned because we just may name you.
Right. I mean, it's going to be interesting. We're going to get we know we're going to get opinions from both sides, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure, without question. It's open discussion, open forum, without question.
I mean, I'm good on that. I want to hear the negatives, the positives. I mean, listen, there's all kinds of different hunters out there, right? There's people that hunt private property. They don't hunt public land. They hunt private property. They use an outfitter. They hunt state land. They hunt private land that's butted up to somebody else's land. And we're going to talk about this because we're going to have a gentleman on here soon. I'm telling you, he has a lot of information about private land butting up to someone else's property.
Land management, and land management.
His
as well.
land butting up, or somebody's land butting up to state land. How do you get around that? How do you manage that? How do you work? So these are all really good subjects, and I bet you there's a lot of people that have an experience.
Yeah,
that can relate to a lot of this conversation.
Yeah, without question. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up for our first test evolution here. And we're going to close it out here with just a couple of things. First and foremost, from my perspective, I'm really excited to be involved with this, to work with not only a family member, but a world-class hunter and a world-class fisher, to be able to capture some of the life stories that are out there and share them. Again, back to the point, Quest Outdoors is about making your next adventure everything it can be. And I'll pass it to Don for close, and then we'll sign off for today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to speaking to some of our guests and to the outdoor public in general. And hopefully we'll get some positivity out of it, and eventually we've helped somebody, and we'll continue on.
Until next time, Quest Outdoors, keep it real.